Good morning, students. Let us study lesson number 4, the freedom struggle of 1857. Before 1857, the local people they faced lot of ill effects or harassment due to the British rule. Under this British rule, the Indians started feeling that they were being harassed by the Britishers. Therefore, they were unsatisfied by the British rule. Even the farmers and the common people they became bankrupt. Bankrupt means what? They had no money left with them. During the Bengal famine in 1770, the British rulers were very cruel towards the Indian people. During this time in Bengal, the peasants in Bengal fought against the Britishers from 1763 to 1857. First time under the leadership of the sannyasis and fakirs. Simultaneously, revolts started in the different places in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and South India. Umaji Naik also, he gave a strong revolt against the Britishers. For this what he did, he organized the Ramoshis and the local youths to revolt against the Britishers. He appealed the people through the declaration to fight against the British and overthrow the government. People in Ahmednagar, Satara, Pune, Nasik, Sholapur, Bor were inspired by him. But due to his activities, Umaji Naik was arrested and hanged to death in 1832 at Pune. The tribals and the forest communities also whose livelihood was dependent totally on forest resources were also against the Britishers. Who were they? Who were the tribal people? They were Kolam of Bihar, Gonds of Odisha and Santals of Bihar. Before 1857, some of the zamindars and the royal class people from different places also rebelled or fought against the Britishers. Even the Indian sepoys or the soldiers in the army of the East India Company were unsatisfied by the British officers. They were being ill-treated and given less salary and allowances as compared to the British soldiers. In 1806 at Vellore and in 1824 at Barrackpore, Indian soldiers took up the fierce revolt. Therefore, all these rebellions were forcibly suppressed as they were local in nature. Now let us learn, do you know? Pika Rebellion. There were many independent kingdoms in Odisha in the medieval period. The king used to have a standing army. They were known as the Pikas. The kings gave them rent-free land for their cultivation and livelihood. In return, what they had to do? They had to fight along with the king in case of any war was being erupted. But this English conquered Odisha in 1803 and they took all the hereditary rent-free lands granted to the Pikas. So the Pikas were angry with the Britishers. Therefore, they revolted against the Britishers under the leadership of Bakshi Jagan Bandhu Biyadar. Now, let us learn about the causes of the struggle of 1857. Now, what was the main reason behind the struggle of 1857? First of all, the Indian people were not satisfied with the British rule. There was instability and insecurity in the minds of the people. Let us learn the first cause. The first cause is what? Economic causes. Now here what happened? The new revenue system caused harassment for the peasants. The tax were forcibly collected, which resulted in the collapse of the agriculture system. I mean, they had to pay the tax in money and they were forced to pay even though if their agriculture production was very low. The British imposed heavy taxes on local industries too. The trade policy, it ruined the traditional industry and it came to the standstill and it caused lot of loss for the means of livelihood of the artisans. Therefore, there was dissatisfaction amongst the minds of the Indian artisans. Now let us learn about the social causes. Now the Indians felt that the Britishers were interfering in their culture, tradition and customs. Since this act, Prevention of Sati Act and Widow Remarriage Act was good according to the social point of view, but the Indian people, what they thought, that the Britishers were interfering in their religion, so they were also dissatisfied. Now, next, political causes. The Britishers annexed many kingdoms in India from 1757 onwards. Lord Dalhousie, what he did, he brought under control many princely states on the pretext of different reasons. He brought the Nawab of Ayodhya was being thrown under the pretext of the maladministration. Means the administration was not good in that particular kingdom. Therefore, simultaneously he annexed many princely states of Satara, Nagpur and Jhansi through the doctrine of Lapse Act. Now let us learn about the dissatisfaction or discontent among the Indian soldiers. Now the Indian soldiers were given very low status than the British soldiers. They were not being given higher post than the Subedar, and their salary was very less as compared to the British officer, nor there was any allowances or incentives were not being given as compared to the British soldiers. Therefore, the Indian soldiers were also not happy with the Britishers. Now, immediately how the revolt started. So, we have to learn about the immediate cause. What happened at that time? The British introduced long range Enfield rifle in 1856. The soldiers were required to bite the end of the cartridges, and the news had spread that the covering of the cartridges contained the fat of cow and pigs, which hurted the religious sentiment of the Hindus and the Muslims. Therefore, these soldiers were very unhappy and were hurted. Now let us learn the outburst. Then suddenly how the revolt started. The action was being taken against the soldiers who refused to use smeared cartridge. Mangal Pandey, he fired at the British officer at Barrackpore cantonment. Therefore, he was being arrested and being hanged. This news slowly spread to the other military cantonment like wildfire. Immediately it was being spread. Therefore, the entire battalion of the Indian soldiers at Meerut, they marched towards Delhi. On the way, they were being joined by many thousands of the common people. On reaching Delhi, what they did, they made Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of India. Now let us learn the scope of the struggle. Now after the capture of Delhi, the revolt it spread to the whole of North India. The soldiers in the cantonment from Bihar to Rajasthan rose to revolt. Slowly this revolt spread to Lucknow, Allahabad, Kanpur, Banaras, Bareilly, Jhansi, later in South India. Later it spread to the other areas also like Nagpur, Satara, Kolhapur, Nargund in Western India. Then the royal queens of Peth Surgana from Nasik district also participated in this particular revolt. In Bhils revolted against 400 female Bhils also participated in the revolt at Khandesh. Now let us learn the leadership of the struggle. Now in which area and who were the leaders who were fighting against the Britishers, who organized the common people. Now in Satara, who took the leadership? Chhatrapati Pratap Singh and his royal officer Rango Bapuji. In Kolhapur, Chimaji Appa, he organized the common people. Nargund, we can see Balasaheb Bhave. Ahmednagar, Bhagoji Naik. Khandesh, Kajar Singh. Satpura, Shankar Shah. Delhi, Bahadur Shah Zafar. Kanpur, Nana Sahib Peshwa and Tatya Tope. Jhansi, you know everybody, Rani Lakshmibai. Bihar, Kunwar Singh. Rohilkhand, Maulvi Ahmadullah. Ayodhya, we had Begum Hazrat Mahal. Now, crushing of the revolt. Now we can see that the revolt it began amongst the dissatisfaction amongst the Indian soldiers. but it, but at the national level, the Hindus and the Muslims participated at various levels. Therefore, the all class people also participated in this revolt, like zamindars, king, artisans, peasants, then all the people of the caste, nobility, then the tribes and the common people. In whole, all the common people and the high level people also participated against the struggle against the British. Only one goal was there, that they wanted to overthrow the British rule. An armed struggle of the people started to overthrow the Britishers, and this gained a lot of national importance. Now we can see the struggle, crushing of the struggle. The Britishers, when they came to know about this revolt, what they did, they immediately tried to suppress it, means to stop this revolt. Initially the revolters succeeded, but within 6 months the Britishers slowly they recaptured most of the lost territories. They crushed the struggle by all ways. Then Bahadur Shah Zafar was being arrested and he was being sent to prison at Rangoon. Rani Lakshmi Bai, Kunwar Singh and Ahmadullah, they lost their lives on the battlefield. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal, they took shelter in Nepal. But Tatya Tope, he started this struggle for next 10 months. But he was being captured due to treachery. Treachery means what? Betrayal, and he was being hanged. Therefore, we can see that the struggle was being suppressed by the end of 1858. Even though the struggle began with the dissatisfaction amongst the Indian soldiers, but all the level of the people they participated in it. Hindus and the Muslims, they got united, and their main purpose or main goal was what? To overthrow the British rule. But they were not succeeded. Why they were not succeeded? Let us learn the causes or the failure of this particular struggle. First one is what? The struggle was not comprehensive. What do you mean by comprehensive? Let us learn. The struggle did not start at all over India at once. It was very severe, more severe in the North India, whereas in Rajputana, Punjab and some parts of Bengal and northwest India, it remained aloof. They did not participate at all. Then there was lack of central leadership, coordination, and there was no uniformity in the struggle. The majority of the rulers of the Indian princely states and the educated Indians, they did not participate in this struggle. Now, lack of military tactics. Now, the Indian soldiers were very brave, but what happened? They lacked tactics and they had very limited arms and weapons. But instead of that, you can see that Britishers, they had united leadership, they had experienced army general, their army was being disciplined, and they had the latest weapons and economic strength and modern means of transport and communication, which was lacking on the part of the Indian soldiers. Now, international situation favorable for the Britishers. During that time, Crimean War with Russia was just over. Therefore, the British had won this war. Therefore, they had a good trade relationship with different countries in the world. The naval strength of the British was also very vast. Therefore, the Indian people could not stand in front of the Britishers. Now, let us learn the consequences or the effects of the struggle of 1857. Due to this revolt, what happened? It shook the foundation of the British power in India. The British Parliament was forced to take the affairs of the India by passing the Government of India Act in 1858. They realized that the British power in India was not safe in the hands of East India Company. Therefore, the Governor General was designated as the Viceroy of India. Lord Canning, he happened to be the last Governor General and the first Viceroy of India. And a new post of the Secretary of State was created to look after the affairs of India. Now let us learn about the Queen's Proclamation. It's what declaration was being made by Queen Victoria during that time. She addressed the people of India in 1858. Now what provisions was been made in this particular proclamation? No discrimination would be done on the grounds of the race, religion, caste, place of birth. Then government jobs would be given on the basis of merit. Then the Britishers would not interfere in the religious affair. They would honor all the treaties made with the Indian princely states, and no state would be annexed or would be taken under the control of the Britishers in future. Now let us learn change in the composition of the army. Now the Britishers, they made change in the army. How they made? They made the number of the British soldiers, they increased the British soldiers. Then English British soldiers, they were placed at the very important locations. Then they made the artillery, that means the arms and ammunition were completely in the hands of the British. Then the army division was made on the basis of the caste, and they looked here, they looked that they took care that the Hindus and Muslims, they do not become united again. Now let us learn changes in the policy. Now there was non-interference in social and religious matter of the Indians. Care was also been taken that the Indians do not again get united and they rebel against the Britishers. For this reason, what they did, they adopted the policy of divide and rule. Now in this lesson, children, we have learned about the struggle before 1857, how it was being spread over all the parts of India. Then we have learned the causes of the struggle of 1857, that is economic causes, social causes, political causes. Then how the Indian soldiers were unsatisfied with the Britishers and the immediate causes. Then we have learned the scope of the struggle and the leadership of the struggle in various places. Then we have learned the nature and the crushing of the struggle. Then we have learned the failure of the struggle. Why did this revolt failed? After that, we have learned the effects of the struggle of 1857. Then the Queen's proclamation or declaration. Then we have learned about the change in the composition of the army, how changes was being done in the British soldiers or army. Then they made some changes in the policy too. Today's homework is read this lesson one time, and if any doubt, kindly contact.